Okay, let's talk about how to turn your followers into clients using direct message ads. Let's go. All right, this is going to be pretty fun, or it will be for me. We'll talk about how to retarget your existing followers and send them direct message ads and send them the right ads so that you can actually turn them into clients. Now, let's just kind of look at some basic numbers real quick and make sure we're on the same page. I created this calculator in like 2 minutes. Happy to send it to you if you want to just message me or something, but it's not overly complicated. So these 3 fields right here can be adjusted. These are the results of these 3 fields. So if your offer is around $2,500 and your target return on ad spend, meaning you're trying to, in this case, trying to get $3 back for every dollar you spend, and your close rate's around 25%, okay, then you can spend about $833 client acquisition cost. So $833 to get a client, meaning you can spend about $208 to book a call and about $10 for direct messages. That's about where they fall. You're going to spend somewhere between $8 to $12 a direct message. That's how it typically works. Now, are there outliers? Yes, but I'm just trying to give you the base math so you understand. So just kind of to vary this up a little bit, you might say, well, Ben, my offer's $2,000. Okay, well, if you hold the same numbers, then you're going to have to get your messages for $8. You can't spend $10 to get a direct message. Okay, well, Ben, my close rate's only 20%. Okay, fine. Then you're only going to be able to spend $7. So that's kind of how that works. But if your offer's $3,000, right, then and your close rate's 25%, then you can spend $13. So I'm just trying to give you an idea of what that's going to look like, and you can just kind of get it in your head. The other thing that people tend to ask me is, well, Ben, I hear people getting a 9 times return. No, they're not. I mean, let me take that back. Yeah, some people do, and I do have clients that do that, but that's usually, it's not typical. In other words, it's not something that's happening on a daily basis. This is your workhorse. This is your daily spend to get regular clients. This is not your master class, your challenge, your something else, your event, whatever it is that's designed to get a really high return on ad spend. This is just the daily stuff, because you can't do those kinds of things all the time. This you can run every day. So your typical return is going to be somewhere between 2 to 4. Usually it's not as high as 4, but sometimes it is. It just depends. So if you're getting somewhere between, let's just say, a 2.5 to 3.5, okay, and your offer's $2,500, okay, I mean that works. That's going to work all day long. You're going to pay $1,000 to get a client. That's how it's going to be. All right, so let's talk about how to set this up. So inside your ads manager, and by the way, you cannot set this up in the app. So I'm going to encourage you, if you've been trying to run Instagram ads solely from inside Instagram, that's not going to work. It only works for some things. It's not a good long-term strategy because there's not enough features there. You're going to go into your ads manager, go to all tools, and go to audiences. It'll open up this. When you get here, what we're trying to do is set up your retargeting audience to retarget your followers. Click create audience, custom audience, go over here to Instagram account, click next. When you're here, so you see how this says people who engaged with the professional account and the audience retention is 365 days. That's not what we're looking for. We want to change this to people who started following the professional account. Now, it took away that 365 days because there's no time limit. If they follow you, they follow you. So that's why. You're just going to label it Instagram followers and then hit create audience. I'm actually not going to create the audience here, but that's what you would do. And then it'll start and it'll pop up something like this. It'll be a custom audience, not a saved audience. And then it'll start pre-filling. Now, initially it will say either not available or, I don't know, under 1,000 or something. I can't remember what it says, but it won't say much right there. That's okay. You can go ahead and set up your ads anyway. So now you're going to go back to your ads manager. And if you're here, by the way, you can just click all tools, and then you can just click campaigns, or you can just click campaigns. How about that? Then when you go back here to your campaigns, you're just going to set up the ad. So click create. You're going to do an engagement campaign. Do you see where let me go ahead and click that. You see where it says good for, if I hover over that, it goes away. It says good for Messenger, Instagram. You can just verify that that's what you're looking at. So good for Messenger, Instagram engagement. There you go. Click continue. Do not use tailored message campaigns. And the reason is simple. Most features on Meta ad platform are designed for e-com and higher budgets. So if you're spending $1,000 a day and you're doing e-com, fine, that's what you want to use. And you have a broader audience. But if you're like most coaches that have a smaller audience, and then what you're going to want to do is you want to do a manual engagement campaign so that you don't have all those extra features which really aren't helpful for us. So in the campaign level, you might see it like this. If it doesn't have ad set budget selected, please do that. Uncheck, share some of your budget. Go ahead and click next. And then here you're going to name the ad set, whatever you want. Come down here and you're going to do manual destination. And you're going to uncheck Messenger because you only want these going to Instagram because we're only going to show them on Instagram. Leave this right here, maximum number of conversations. Your daily budget. So your daily budget depends on your audience size. Let me go back to the audiences for a second. So you see how this is 11,000 to 13,000. So in that case, I could probably spend $50 a day. Now you're going to have to rotate through creative quite a bit, and that's okay. That's what this is for. You just have to kind of get used to it. It's just like putting out content. You just got to do new stuff, and so your audience doesn't fatigue. If your audience size is smaller than say 10,000, you can still spend, if it's between 5,000 and 10,000, you can spend between $40 to $50 a day, okay? The thing is it'll just fatigue quicker. Under 5,000, you're probably going to be in the $20 to $30 a day realm. So it just depends. Some people can spend more, some less. You just have to try it. I'm just giving you an idea. All right, now back to the Ads Manager. So you'll set your budget. You don't need to worry about the start date, end date. You manually monitor the end date. You'll come down here, forget this stuff right here. What we want to do is switch to original audience options. Again, we don't want Meta in, we do want to let Meta control some things where it will help us save the ad cost. And I'll show you that in just a second. But for the most part, we want to control as much as we can. So further limit the reach of your ads. Continue. Click right in here where it says custom audiences. Give it a second, and you should see your Instagram follower one. If you don't, just start typing in followers. Like right here, I don't have one in here, but you would do that. But in this case, I'm going to use this one right here. And so you'll select it. If you see something like this, the Advantage Plus custom audience, please uncheck that. Otherwise, it's going to show it to people beyond your followers, which sounds great because what Facebook is saying as well, it might, we can improve performance, but they're not going to know who turns into calls and who turns into clients, so they really can't improve performance, if that makes sense. When you come down here, let's talk about age real quick. In a general sense, you don't want to adjust age. So let's just say you're targeting your ideal audience is perimenopausal or menopausal women. So we know they're of a certain age, and the 18-year-old doesn't need that, and the 65-plus-year-old doesn't need that. So why wouldn't you change the audience, the age? The reason is because if you give Meta a little bit more control on stuff like that, it will lower your ad cost, or lower what it costs to show the ads. And your content, meaning your ad, is going to filter those people out anyway. An 18-year-old, once they see it's for menopause or perimenopause, they're going to ignore it. That's fine. Now, the issue could be, in that particular case, the 65-year-old, they might still try. So you have to try it both ways, but if you're going to limit the age of your audience, limit the upper end, not the lower end. So in other words, you would change this to whatever number you wanted. Okay. Now, from a gender standpoint, in that same scenario, do you need to put women? Well, it depends. So if your current followers are, let's just say they're 80% women, then no, leave this just as it is. Again, giving them more control, okay? Giving Meta more control. But if your audience is like 50% men, 50% women, that's not going to work. Just go ahead and edit this and then change it to just women, just like that, okay? All right. You're going to scroll down here and we're going to update the placements. It's tricky here because they don't want you to update them. So come down here, click edit. Okay, let's do manual placements. Now for these particular ads, we're going to uncheck Facebook, and all we really want to show them, the only places we really want to show them are reels and stories. Now, I will tell you, you can show them in the feed if you want, as long as, because typically what you want to use is a typical, vertical 9:16 video, just like a normal reel. And you can still do that. You can show it in the feed as long as any text that's on the video can be seen in the feed's format, which I'll show you what that looks like in a second. So I'm going to leave these checked for now. But these, I'm going to uncheck the search results here, and I'm going to uncheck the home, and I'm going to uncheck the profile feed. I'm just going to leave the Instagram feed, Instagram stories, and I'm going to undo profile reels. So those are the ones I'm going to leave. Now I'm going to hit next. And here I'll just, whatever the name of my ad is, I'm going to put it there. I'm going to do single image or video. I'm going to uncheck multi-advertiser ads, set up creative, video ad. I will upload one if you haven't already. Be careful when you upload, because once you do, you see where it says auto cropped. For some reason, what they do is they auto crop it into different formats so that they can show it on different placements better. Anyway, I don't know why they do that. So I want to make sure it's in the original format. So in this case, 1080 by 1920. I'm going to click on that. I'm clicking next. I'm going to click skip. Now I'm going to uncheck this box. Okay. And I'm not going to change this. I'm just going to leave it. Now the question is should you use, or should you put any ad copy in there? And the answer is you need to try it both ways. If you're doing a video, it should tell them everything that they need to know, and so the ad copy is really not necessary, but sometimes it can improve performance. It just depends. Most of the time it doesn't. So try it both ways. For now, keep it simple. Don't use any ad copy. Click done. And then, I know that sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? And I'm a copy guy. Like, I love long copy and all that stuff. So now you can see these previews up here. I'm going to select this advanced preview real quick. Okay, so you can see how this is what it would look like showing in the feed. So the text that's overlaying the video is fine, right? Mine, it would be fine. But if yours isn't, you need to go back and unselect the Instagram feed and just show it on stories and reels. Okay, so that's okay. Now I'm going to scroll down just a bit. Where it says it's creative testing, don't do that. We're going to do, if you haven't done this already, we're going to do a message template, and we're going to do create new. If it'll let me do it, or edit. Maybe I have to edit it. Anyway, so right here, what you're going to tell them in most cases, you're going to say, hey, if this, DM me the word, yes, right? I don't know. I'm just thinking stuff. So in this, excited you're okay, and just put it in your normal format. In other words, if you use emojis, use emojis. If you don't. I mean, don't, just do it the way you would do it. Now here, where it says question 1, look, we're going to X out of this where it says question 2. We're going to get rid of that. Put yes, just like that. Don't do an automated response. Now you can if you want to, but you're better off not doing it in most cases. So what's going to happen is when they get a message, it's going to see that yes, they can click on it. I'm sure you know how it works. Okay, so that's it. This thing with follow-up high intent customers who tapped on your ad but haven't seen the message after approximately a day, you can test that. It's up to you. I've seen it work. I've seen it not work. But then you're just going to save your template here, which I'm not going to say, but you would just name it, say, and by the way, I would make this message right here as generic as possible so that you could use it across multiple things, right? So instead of being very specific, it could be specific to the client, but not specific to why they're messaging you, okay? If that makes sense. So that being said, once you save it, it'll be in there, and then you can preview it on Instagram if you want. So that's how you set that up. Okay, now you're ready to go. you hit publish, and boom, it's out there. It's ready to go. All right, hopefully that made sense. Let's just talk a little bit about the creative. So what I would want you to do is typically you want to create 3 ad angles. And I've kind of sketched those out for you, but one of them you really want to focus on the problem. So you typically want to try 3 different ad angles. And by the way, the video ads, they don't have to be talking head. They could be B-roll or a combination thereof. You do which one you want, and you can try out different ones. Sometimes it's as simple as just putting an image, like a vertical image, 9:16, with just text over it, not even a full B-roll, right, with some music behind it that runs for 6 seconds or 9 seconds or something like that. And sometimes you can do that simple, and it's great. But you can try them different ways. But one of the ads needs to be a problem-based ad, like, then this could be like, you're disciplined everywhere else, so why is this the one thing that you can't fix? I mean, that really smacks them in the face, right? And it calls them out because they're disciplined. So hopefully the people who aren't disciplined everywhere else are not going to respond because they weren't disciplined to begin with. So you're kind of qualifying and disqualifying at the same time. The next type of ad you want to do is an outcome-based one. So it might be something like, what if the weight finally started dropping without starting over again every Monday? So an outcome-based, not your typical outcome-based one, right? That's very good. Then the next one, I really like contrarian stuff. One of them could be, it's not your hormones like everybody tells you it is. It's the approach that you've been following, or it's the strategy you've been using, or whatever it is. So you're doing it contrarian to what everybody else says. And you can always come up with that angle. I've always favored that. That's always been my favorite, to come at it from the angle that everybody else isn't using. I hope you enjoyed this. So when it comes time for, you're doing so well, getting the direct messages and everything, you're ready to hire me, just please reach out. My team would love to have you. We'd love to talk to you about it and how we can expand that for you. And the only thing that you're going to need now is traffic, and I'm talking about that on this next video.